Hey there, Heavies. Welcome back to another edition of Heavy's World. That's right. Today we are going up into the stars. We are going to be talking about a subject that absolutely love. It is one of my favorite subjects in the world, and that is Star Wars. Specifically, well, you're going to have to stay and find out, aren't you? And I'll even have a special guest joining me for today's video as well. So sit back, relax, and get ready for the first ever edition of Heavy Wars.
Yeah.
Okay, Heavies, here we are. It's the first ever episode of Heavy Wars. And as I mentioned just before in my little intro, I've got a special guest. So before we get started, I'd like to introduce you all to Josh. Josh, thanks for coming along today.
Hello. Hi. It's all right. I didn't come far.
No, I didn't really have to come far either. Um, so basically today, what we're gonna talk about is that we've recently had Star Wars Celebration, and usually what happens when Star Wars Celebration is on, we get a heap of news coming out of it, whether it's new trailers, whether it's new news about what future projects, stuff that's
Yeah.
been kind of hearsay for now. Sometimes you may even get the odd description video about a new trailer for something that's coming out that this is a bit too hush hush for the moment. But the big
Yeah.
one to come out of Star Wars Celebration probably in the last few days is the announcement of three new Star Wars movies, and that's pretty much what we're going to go over today. What we've
Yeah.
seen, what we've read, give our thoughts and opinions, where we think it may go, where it may not go, and what we really, really hope does and doesn't happen. So,
Yeah.
yeah, one of these years I'd actually like to go to Star Wars Celebration.
I wouldn't
Um,
mind going to. I mean, I'd prefer to go to Galaxy's Edge first. That'd be good.
oh yeah, definitely, definitely. So I think we go chronologically here. We go with the movie that's set first in all this, and that will
Yeah.
be directed by James Mangold,
Hmm.
and it is going to be set 25,000 years in the past. And from what I've read so far, it's going to be around the first Jedi, the creation of the
Yeah.
Jedi, that sort of stuff, which
Yeah.
I think that has a lot of potential.
Oh, it does. It's nice because it's not Disney continuing an already ongoing series. It's them going with, taking us way back to the origins of it all, and it's something different than they've done before. It's not, as again, the rehash of continuing the Skywalker saga. It's doing something completely new. So I'm really excited to see where they take their spin on it. And it's focusing on an aspect of the whole Star Wars thing of light and dark that I've always really quite enjoyed myself, that I've told you quite a lot about, as well as the whole grey Jedi aspect, or
Yeah,
what it was originally known as, is, taking them both chaos and harmony and balance, and how that ended and how it became the Jedi and the Sith. So it's going to be really exciting to see how they approach that, how, and who they cast as the first Jedi as well is going to be interesting too.
yeah, definitely.
I
That's
don't think that's been announced yet, has it?
No, I don't think they've gone as far as announcing like any sort of casting. They've
No.
just announced the three movies and the three directors. I think this is out of all three movies that were announced, this is probably the one that excites me the most because,
Same,
as you said,
100%.
it's new ground. Well,
Yeah,
to a degree, it's new ground because we've always got Legends and the old EU, the extended universe stuff like comics and whatnot before
yeah.
the Disney
But
workout.
unfortunately, thanks to Disney, that stuff isn't considered canon anymore. So it
Yeah,
remains to be seen whether they're going to bring some of that old pre-existing extended universe content into canon, or if they're going to make something completely new on their own and assume that that's canon.
yeah, exactly. Because they have a habit of saying we're not using that old
Hmm.
canon anymore. It's Legends, but then they'll
Yeah,
with the sequel trilogy they brought things in that you could tell were pulled from that, and they just changed
yeah,
them around to
exactly.
suit their needs. Like
Yeah.
Palpatine not being dead, cloning,
Oh
a
God, don't.
whole a
Let's not
whole
talk
new
about that.
fleet, all that stuff.
Yeah,
That was like Dark Empire back in the day, extended
yeah,
universe stuff. But like the one thing that I'm interested in is that in comics in the EU based back that far, there's a lot of stuff around that balance,
Hmm.
balance in the force. And it kind of makes me feel like that maybe the first people that were force practitioners, people who studied the force and whatnot, really were more in that grey Jedi type of area.
Well, yeah, from what I can see of some of the stuff I've seen around about the movie that's come out so far, it seems that it is exactly that. That the first practitioners, they weren't the Jedi that we were now. They weren't called Jedi. They were called something else. I can't remember exactly what the name was because it
I think it
just
might
gone
have
out of
been
my head.
even a play on the word Jedi. It was just
Yeah, it
pronounced
was
differently and
something like
spelt
I'm
phonetically
not sure if it
different.
was something like Pan Jedi or something like that,
Yeah,
but it wasn't Jedi as we know them now.
yeah,
And it basically was that, it was exactly that. They were using both the dark side and the light side together, balancing chaos and harmony. But then there was like, what's going to happen? There's going to be something that happens that causes a what was called the first Jedi Civil War, which then made the split happen to Jedi and Sith. And it's going to
yeah,
be interesting how they're going to make that play out.
yeah. And I think the thing that I've noticed, watching videos, reading the articles about all of this since it was announced, is that um, something happens that makes the Jedi fear the dark side.
Yeah. And it just
Fears,
it's
fears, fears that other side. So they decided to focus on the light in the balance and not just the dark,
yeah.
because it always didn't make sense to me that in the movies, especially the prequels, that the Jedi talk about bringing balance to the Force and all of that.
Hmm.
To me, there's no balance when there's a whole organization, a whole following, a whole way of life called the
Yeah.
Jedi, and there's two Sith. That's not
Well, exactly. I
balance.
mean, well, again, the rule of two, I think, is, not very recent, but I think it is somewhat recent. Because again, I don't know how seriously you can excuse it as canon, but in the Star Wars: The Old Republic, there is an academy for Sith, so it can't just be one or two of them.
Yeah, no, it's after that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, I'm really excited for this. And James Mangold, you know, he's had some hits, he's had some misses, but he made one of my favorite comic book movies in Logan.
Oh
So,
yeah, I remember. I
he
remember. So I
can,
don't actually know about too much about him, but I know he directed. I know he directed Logan, and Logan was incredibly good. So
yeah, it was
I've got high
brilliant.
hopes for this movie as well.
Yeah, so he's had experience in the comic book realm. He's
Hmm.
got, he's really good when given the chance, you know, taking off the lead a little bit and giving it a bit more rope, that he can
Hmm.
really do something character driven in that type
Yeah.
of world as well. So I'm really excited about it. And, I've got an article up here on my, where he's talking about when him and um, Kathleen Kennedy first started talking about this idea for the movie. And he just really he sees this as his Star Wars version of like Ben Hur or the Ten Commandments. It's
Yeah, I
there's
remember
going to be
reading that. Yeah.
spectacle and it's going to be character driven and the birth of the Force. It's
Hmm.
something that, as a fan, my whole life I've thought, how did this happen?
Well, hopefully, I mean, we'll soon find out, won't we? I mean,
Yeah,
as well as the casting is what's really going to make it for me. Like, I don't know if there's going to be sort of like a main, like a main character to the movie, or if it's going to be like a bunch of characters. But
yeah, it might be a bit of both.
I've been thinking a lot about who would be good for the guy who eventually becomes the first Jedi.
Mm-hmm. What
And
have you got?
seeing as we'll never see a movie about the character I want to see a movie about, I would love it if we got to see the first Jedi be Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, yeah, because everyone would love to see him as Revan.
Everyone would love to see him as Revan, but we're not going to get a Revan movie, so we might as well have a movie with him as the first Jedi.
And that's actually cool. He's a very, I think, the person who discovers the force and what it does needs to be somebody who's very calm and controlled,
Yeah,
not
exactly.
not
Like,
illogical, and not
yeah,
someone who's
Keanu
quick.
seems to be Keanu seems to be one of those people who can act out easily, being able to balance chaos and harmony, but then through higher learning and things that happen, make the decision that the dark side needs to be expelled and the light side needs to be held on to. I think that he'd be the perfect
Yes.
role for it, but I don't know because I think they just say that they're going to be doing another John Wick movie.
Well, they've just had
So
number 4 coming out, and if it's
yeah,
if
I
it's
think
a
there's already
success,
I think there's already talk of number five.
yeah, I think there is as well.
Yeah,
Um, well, yeah, no, I agree with everything. It'd be awesome.
it
It'd be
would be
awesome to
great.
just see him in a Star Wars movie, but I think that
It would.
he's got that whole sort of
Hmm.
Zen thing happening. I could see him being a
Yeah,
guy who
he's very
stumbles
calm.
onto, yeah. So no, that'd be really good. Um, Moving on, the next one is
Yeah,
the Mandoverse movie, which it doesn't surprise me that they're
it
going
does
with this
surprise
route
me.
because Dave Dave Filoni is directing. He's responsible for Mandoverse and
Yeah.
all of that stuff. But it's become very apparent, especially no major spoilers or anything, but in this season of The Mandalorian, it's had
Hmm.
very weird pacing.
Hmm. It has seemed a little
And
off, hasn't it?
and it has, to me, it's like they're building towards something. Whether
Yeah.
it's this is how they learn the First Order, the Empire is not dead, and there's the First Order,
Hmm.
or that whatever is out there is just the Empire's not dead. Something's going to happen to
Yeah, of
finish it
course.
off before the First Order comes in, I should say. But they're plotting. You can, the episodes they've had. It's they're laying so much foundation and groundwork. It's kind of like what they did with the Book of Boba Fett, where they had a Mando-centric episode or two in there too.
Yeah, and then Mando came in to help in the last episodes. Yeah.
Yeah, so I kind of see this as, to me, this feels kind of like this movie
Hmm.
would feel to me like a kind of Seven Samurai, or you know what I mean, like Magnificent Seven, or like an A Team. This is going to be an ensemble movie because they've got so
Yeah.
many shows building towards it, and it's obviously it's a big enough threat to warrant
Oh, is
putting it
that
in
what it is,
each.
it? Because
Yeah.
I haven't seen much of anything at all about this movie that you're on about because I like all the Star Wars Celebration stuff I've seen everyone mention, the movie that that we just talked about and the movie we're
Hmm.
going to talk about in a minute. But I genuinely have not seen anything about this spin-off movie containing Mando and that lot.
Yeah.
So I don't really have much to talk about it because again, I haven't like no one really seems to be talking about it as far as I can see. I've tried looking online and I'm not, you know, I've
Um.
seen I've seen the title stuff like Dave Filoni's going to be directing a movie and it's going to be set between The Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens, so it's going to be set
Yeah.
between those times, which is where Mando roughly sits.
Yeah. It's about
But
5
again,
years after Jedi.
I haven't heard anything about that. If it's gonna contain like Mando and all the different other sort of groups
Mhm.
like Boba Fett and all this sort of stuff, it will be interesting. But I do
Yeah.
worry, does this spell the end of Mando?
I'm not sure.
I think it's just like is this going to be like the movie and then Mando ends or
Who knows? Honestly, all I've got at the moment online that I've seen him say is that, when asked about the movie in interviews, is that, he talks about on a base level, in his head, it's the coming conflict, everything that's the seeds are being planted in Mando and other shows
yeah,
that are out or haven't even come out yet. And it's that idea is that the Empire wasn't defeated like everyone thought. And there's this very big episode about that in this season of Mandalorian. And
which episode was that? Which episode number?
um,
Because before we say anything, I believe I might be an episode behind.
oh, it was a few weeks back. It was about
Oh, okay.
2 or 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
Yeah, I won't go into details because there are people out there that will. not
Yeah,
obsessed. Me and
I am
Kate are
actually
watching
one
them as they
episode.
come out. But
Yeah, I'm on episode 6, but I'm actually behind an episode.
hmm, well, yeah, I think we watched 7 this week, so I think next week's 8. We watched
Six
6.
six is this week. Next week
Yeah,
is 7.
next week
Yeah,
is 7. That's right. But yeah, I think it's going to be about what they're
yeah.
planting
It's
seeds
good.
for in Mando. What
Yeah,
you know, the biggest thing I think to look towards in relation to the Mando movie, I think is going to be Ahsoka, because
yeah.
if they're teasing Thrawn in the
Hmm.
expanded universe of Legends, he was a huge proponent around the Empire, coming back or trying to come back, and he was a
Yeah.
much loved character. You see him the first time I really experienced him was in Rebels, and that got me to go back and read the books, the Thrawn trilogy
Hmm.
as well. And he would be he would be that great of a character. He'd be like Thanos
Yeah.
in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It brings all the heroes together
Yeah.
because whatever he's cooking up is big, and that's what I see this as. This is like Mando Avengers, or even if you wanted to dial it back a little bit more, I kind of see it as what Marvel were doing with the Netflix shows, and they had the Defenders. You
Oh
got
yeah, the Defenders.
you'll
Yeah.
have Mando, you'll have Ahsoka, but possibly
Bunch of
Boba
side
Fett,
characters put together.
and
Yeah,
there's a huge threat looming, and they're going to be in that. So,
that would be cool. I'd like to see that. It
well,
would be
yeah,
nice to see like things like Mando and all the other all the other sides. So I call them side characters. They're not really side characters, but you know what I mean. Like all these other characters sort of team up. It would be nice to see. And it's just as I say, I haven't really seen anything about it so far, so I'm kind of waiting for more information of that to come out to really give a sort of opinion on it.
yeah,
Um,
definitely.
the
And
only
I
one I can
suppose
say at
the
the moment is I hope Rosario Dawson is good as Ahsoka.
what I've
Because it's
seen
going to
so
be an
far,
interesting. I'm hoping so. As I say, I also am a little bit tired of her after seeing all the Netflix stuff. It's nothing against her as an actress, but she's an amazing actress. Just
yeah.
when it came to like the Defenders stuff, and I'm a huge Marvel fan, so I watch all that sort of stuff, and
Hmm.
watching all them and seeing that she was in every single one of them, and then she just pops up here, there, and everywhere. It's sort of like
Yeah, I
you
get
know,
what you mean. She was like that
yeah.
character that sort of connected all of those shows together.
Yeah, it was. And then she was in other shows as well. It's just sort of thing like I don't want it to be a thing where when sometimes you get a character like Rosario Dawson, who is a great actress, but then they put them in everything and they end up being in a role that they're not suited for.
Yeah, I get what you mean, but I think if
Yeah.
there's
I
anybody,
mean, we've had her in as Ahsoka already, and I feel she played the role well. It's just she wasn't really there long enough to me to gauge how I feel she is in the role. So
yeah,
we'll just have to
yeah,
wait and see. But I am confident she'll be good in it.
yeah, I'm looking forward to Ahsoka in August. That's got me excited as all hell, pretty much,
It's about
because
four months away.
we've got Dark Jedi, we've got Thrawn, we've got Ahsoka, we've
Yeah.
got all this stuff that's you know, again,
There's
the
a lot coming
connections to
up.
Rebels,
Hmm.
the animated show, and everything. I'm really excited to see where it goes.
Yeah, there's a lot of it coming up.
And I suppose the beauty of the Mandoverse of this movie is that it's set between Jedi and the Force Awakens, and there's like a 30-year gap.
Yeah.
Like I read that from the end of season 2 of Mando to season 3 of Mando, it's like a 2-year break in between each season. Like story wise, it's been 2 years.
Oh, okay.
So it's
So
no
it's-
longer 5 years past Return of the Jedi. We're getting closer to a decade after the end of Return of the Jedi now. So
yeah,
it's, yeah, really interesting. Very interesting, in my opinion.
the story's gonna start to catch up. But yeah, I'm excited to see where it goes from here. I'm just hoping to God that this spin-off movie doesn't spell the end of the Mando seasons because I think that really does need to continue. I want to because we all want to see. Let's be honest, we all want to see Grogu grow up. We all want to see him get stronger. We all want to see what's going to happen with that little guy.
Is he gonna,
So
is he gonna stay like go back to
is he going to stay
his
tiny
Jedi
or
stuff? Is he gonna, you've seen all
yeah,
those art, all that fanfic art where he's like got little version of Mandalorian armor and he still carries a
yeah,
lightsaber and all that sort of stuff. Like,
exactly? Are we going to have like um a Jedi Mandalorian?
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
when he starts talking, is he going to talk like Yoda does as well?
Yeah, I know. That's seriously at the moment. Mando is literally like watching a child and waiting for their first words.
A child, which I'm isn't isn't Grogu older than Mando
Yeah,
as well? That's the
essentially, yeah,
funny thing. Is
he
like
is.
he's a child, but Grogu's like yeah, he's older than Mando, but he's still a child.
Yeah,
It's great.
and it's just because of the way his species ages.
Yeah, he's only 50 years old.
He's only 50.
Only 50.
He's got he's right. He's got
Yeah.
heaps of time to go. Like, but yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see more information about that one come out. As I said, I didn't really have much to say on this movie because I did try to find some stuff, but I couldn't really find much announced about this movie. And also, I haven't yet watched the other sort of side story. Is this going to involve the groups from like the Bad Batch as well, or is it just like the live action stuff like
no.
Book of Boba
Well,
Fett,
that's the
Mando and
thing.
stuff?
They're bringing animated characters from Rebels into Ahsoka. They
Well,
brought
yeah,
one
and I
into
mean,
Mando a couple of weeks ago with
yeah,
Zeb, and
well, not just that. I mean, like Bo-Katan
yeah,
was
exactly.
originally a character from I think the Clone Wars series.
Yeah,
And the actress who voiced Bo-Katan in the animated show is actually the person
yeah.
in the Mando show.
Katie
So
Sackhoff.
yeah,
Like,
exactly. She again, I'm still uncertain of her, but we're not going to talk about Mando right now. We'll move on.
yeah, yeah. Let's just put it this way: my wife feels the same way as you do. So,
Oh, what about Bo-Katan?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that
Yeah,
one.
she's yeah, she's sneaky lady that one.
Yeah.
But we'll see how it goes.
But yeah, so the third movie, from what everything I've seen online, whether it's videos, whether it's articles, whether it's Facebook chatter and groups and
Mhm.
pages or whatnot on Twitter, this is the movie. It's going to be the decisive movie. This is going to be the movie that will be analyzed and picked
Yeah.
apart the most with every bit of
Oh,
new news that
it'll
comes
be
out about it.
destroyed. Yeah.
Or it's, yeah, exactly. And that's the movie set 15 years after The Rise of Skywalker, about the new
Yeah.
Jedi Order, Rey's a Master
Yeah.
Jedi. It's a whole
Yeah,
new
she's trying to
era
rebuild the order.
and whatnot.
Now, first things first, people are going to hate it because Ray's in it.
Yes,
Um, because
people are
I
going to
get
be,
the overwhelming consensus that fans, not all of them, obviously, I get overwhelming consensus that fans didn't seem to like Ray. I didn't mind her.
I
Um,
didn't mind her
I
either.
kind of didn't enjoy the bait and switch they did in the movie, but I hold no bad feelings towards Ray. I didn't like that they made it seem like Finn was going to be the Jedi, and then they did a bait and switch. That's just my personal feelings on that sort of I'm going to call it a mechanic, where they bait you into believing one thing and then switch it out.
Yeah.
I'm not personally a fan of that,
Hmm.
but Rey herself is a great character. I mean, even if there was inconsistencies like, you know, instantly knowing how to do the whole Jedi mind tricks with absolutely no training and whatsoever
Yeah.
is probably why people don't like her. But I think as a Jedi Master, I think we'll see a different side of Rey. We're not going to be seeing like the young, naive Rey we saw in the movies. We're not going to see the one that's, unsure about her place in the world. We're going to see a more confident, a more, I wouldn't say ambitious, but we're going to see just sort of like maybe a gentler version as well. Just everything that embodies a Jedi Master, we'll see Rey turn into. And it's interesting to see what kind of Jedi Master Rey's going to be.
Yeah, definitely it will be. And I think, she's got the text that Luke had. She's got the
Yeah.
first
Yeah,
text
they
from
didn't they burn
Octo.
them? They burnt the
Um,
sacred text, didn't they?
no, at the end of The Last Jedi, she opens a drawer, I think, to put the broken lightsaber in, and you see the books,
Oh,
those books there. So she was
okay.
able to get them beforehand.
Yeah.
But it'd be interesting to see how they take it because probably the biggest thing to come from that trilogy is her not so much learning from her mistakes, but her learning from who came before her
Learning from the
mistake.
Jedi's mistakes overall,
Yeah,
to be
there's a
honest, isn't it? I mean,
whole,
no doubt the Jedi's made mistakes, and hopefully she'll learn from them and build the Order in a better way.
yeah, and I totally agree. Like, there's a whole bunch of hubris and whatnot about naivety of the
Yeah.
Jedi, the way they were perceived in the galaxy. She's
Mhm.
ultimately Rey's pure of heart, and
Yeah.
whatnot. I watched Rise of Skywalker today, actually.
Did ya?
And there's parts in that I totally forgot about, where she's hopped up for revenge. She's once
Yeah.
Palpatine gone. Finn's reminding her, no, that's not who you are. And she's like, I'm sick of people telling me who they think I am,
Yeah.
blah, 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 and stuff like that. So it's going to be very interesting, because one part of me really hopes that Finn is in there to
I
some
was going to
degree,
say,
and
yeah.
that
I
you
mean,
see that he actually trained and mastered Force ability to
well,
become a
that's it
Jedi, because it
because
was that
we know
whole.
that during one of the movies, I can't remember which one it was. There was a scene when they were in those caves. I think they were being swallowed by quicksand or
Yeah, it
something
was
like
a
that.
Rise of Skywalker where he
Yeah,
wants to tell her
yeah, and
something.
he wants to tell her something. Everyone's like, "Oh my God, she's gonna tell her that she loves him." And it's like
No.
JJ Abrams, like, no, no, he was going to tell her that he's force sensitive, which is great. It means that, hopefully in this new movie, I mean, if it's 15 years after Rise of Skywalker, if Finn knew in Rise of Skywalker that he could feel force abilities,
Yeah.
hopefully if they are able to get John Boyega on for the movie, I think they'll make him a master too.
Or even a
Because
knight. Like,
a
I,
knight
I don't
maybe,
know if
but
I
I
want him to
think
I don't know if I want him to be in the whole movie though, like as another main
um
character, because that's just going to
I
make people go, this is just we're going through the Skywalker saga again and the sequels,
I don't I don't
trilogy,
know
and
actually, because I feel that a lot of fans might be on my side of it now that they know that Finn can feel, is force sensitive. A
Mhm.
lot of fans might feel like I do, and the fact that at the start we were made to feel that he was going to be the next Jedi anyway. So I would quite like to see John Boyega take out the role of Finn, and maybe not be a main character, but in
Mhm.
the movie as well, in some scenes as a Jedi Master, it could be that, they just interact via holocom sometimes because he's on another planet training Jedi or something,
Yeah,
or he's on missions or something. But some interaction with him in the movie to show that he is actually a Jedi Master as well now, because there's every chance he could be if Rey only just became a Jedi during during the whole Rise of Skywalker, the sequel trilogy.
yeah,
So he would have had the same amount of time to train as she had, pretty much.
yeah,
So it would be good to see it, but there's another character I hope to see in the movie as well, and I can't remember which ending we've got. I think it might be the end of The Last Jedi. You remember there was that kid who
yeah. The broom,
the little kid with the broom who showed the powers of Force. I hope they bring him into it, and I hope like he's like the main student of it all or something like that.
or is it like like at that night
Yeah.
part? Like, he's not a master, but
Hmm.
he's kind of like in that area that Ahsoka was in the Clone Wars,
Yeah.
where she was kind of like a Padawan kind, to Anakin, but she
Hmm.
really came across as more than
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But yeah, this movie is the one that's gonna people are gonna watch very closely, whether it's to
Yeah.
scrutinize or applaud what's being done and
I
what.
mean, yeah, either way, like the first movie we talked about is definitely going to be taken as, okay, this is a Disney sort of fresh aspect, like fresh representation of what they think the first Jedi was like and all that sort of past stuff that no
Yeah,
movie has ever really touched on before. So it'd be good to see them do that, their own thing where they make their own characters and do their own story with it, rather than continuing an age-old story that's been going on for probably longer than me and you have been alive.
yes,
Um,
it has.
yeah. So continuing the Rise of Skywalker, I think is a good point to maybe see. This is the thing. This is something that they said that they're going to be doing. They're doing sort of like a new style format where, like, it's not they're not setting themselves up to do a new trilogy with this 15 years later movie. This is just a standalone movie. And I think for Star Wars, what they need to do now, if they are going to do movies, a lot of the times, like with the sequel trilogy, they fell flat with that because they had two different directors. They had J.J. Abrams setting up The Force Awakens, which is good, and it could have led on to something better. But The Last Jedi was directed by Rian Johnson. If I'm right, he changed
Mm.
a lot of things in the story.
Oh, it was,
So,
yeah,
a character that, like, for example, Snoke. Snoke was probably going to be something completely different and a lot more than he was.
yeah.
But
You
I
you
feel
had
that
that
he
feeling.
was yeah, exactly. The way it was set up in The Force Awakens, you felt Snoke was going to be the main villain of the trilogy and built up to be something more, but he was snuffed out in The Last Jedi like it was nothing.
Yeah.
So I feel that The Last Jedi is the worst of the three, and then then they killed off Luke in that. I don't know if that was supposed to happen. Even Mark Hamill said himself that it didn't feel like he was playing Luke Skywalker anymore.
Mm.
So the fact that they had three different directors, that they set themselves up that if they plan a trilogy, because it means one of the directors might not be available. So
Yeah.
if they do like a new style format where they leave a movie in sort of a closed cliffhanger, like an open ending sort of thing, so you know the 15 years later movie, the movie that comes after, if it does well and they already have a story script in mind and it's received well by the fans and people like where it's going and they start asking for more, they can do more. But
Yeah.
if they alternatively also say, okay, we have plans to do more, but that's enough of that story, you can also consider the ending of that movie as a satisfactory ending. So leave it open-ended so that you can continue it if you want to, but if you decide not to, the ending that's there can still be sufficient to close the story. And that's
Yeah, I
what they need
agree.
to do with these movies. So even if they do decide to do a sequel of this movie that's upcoming, if they wanted to cut the sequel off there instead of doing another movie for a trilogy, they still could.
Hmm.
And I think that's the
And
way it is with Star Wars, because pushing yourself into a trilogy it can cause all kind of problems.
well, yeah, I think that's probably one of the biggest things wrong in Hollywood is,
Yeah.
movie making these days is that everybody's looking for the next franchise and they
Yes.
go, we'll play it. All right, we've got our first one, our origin story. We're gonna
Yeah.
paint by numbers. It won't fail, but it won't be a huge success. Give it over to the next. Whereas, when I was younger, and even when the first Star Wars movie came out, Star Wars, there wasn't it wasn't 100% given that there would be a follow up. Lucas got the
No.
idea for a follow up, and he goes, "Okay, you know, this looks like it's got some legs. Let's move forward." And
Yeah.
whatever else, and lucky you did because we got what we got today for it as fans. But I think that Hollywood plays is a bit too safe in this day and age where they go,
Yeah.
let's try not to crack too many eggs, and
Yeah.
let's try not to step on anyone's toes too much. Let's not try and be. It's like they've lost the ability to like give it their all and put it up
Hmm.
there on the screen, and then let the fans decide whether.
Yeah.
John Wick is probably the last movie. The first John Wick was the last movie I saw do that. I walked out of the first John Wick movie, and after seeing it, I said to myself, I said, I reckon there's going to be a sequel. But if there isn't a sequel, I am completely and utterly happy and sustained. They left it all on the film. They gave it all they got. They told a story that while it was self-contained, contained,
Contained.
contained,
Yeah.
good Aussie, um,
Yeah.
you could see that if they really wanted to, there was a way to keep on going.
Yeah.
And that's what
It's
ended
like,
up happening.
yeah. I mean, sadly, I haven't seen the John Wick movies yet. I do plan to. But the last movie I felt like that for me was with Deadpool. Like Deadpool was a great movie, and it was a passion project that Ryan Reynolds had been trying to get up and running for years, and thank God he finally did. But
Yeah.
when it ended, when the way the movie ended, it didn't really feel like they needed to do more. They could have just left Deadpool as a one and done, and
Yeah.
everyone would have been happy. The fact that they
Even
also
with
managed to
that
continue it
post-credit
was
scene,
fine.
they still could have done that
Yeah,
because
well, that's
Deadpool's known
exactly
to
it.
break the fourth wall and act like a goofball.
Exactly. Exactly. Like they could have just left Deadpool there, but no, they decided to continue it. And that's what they need to do. I think what Disney did by jumping in and going, "Oh, we're going to do an entire trilogy of the sequel." They were trying to pigeonhole themselves into what, they did with the prequel trilogy and the original trilogy. And I get it, but as you said, when George Lucas Fate made the first one, he didn't have any ideas of, oh, this is how I start my trilogy. It was, yeah, this is a good movie. Oh, people want more. I'll do another one.
This is the
And that
movie
sort
I
of thing.
want to make and I fought to make.
Yeah. And then, of course, when they made the prequel trilogy, Phantom Menace, Clone Wars, and Revenge of the Sith. They already had the framework there. They had Darth Vader. He was already an established character of about 30 years by this point. They took the time to explain Darth Vader, Ben Kenobi, Anakin Skywalker, and they set the scene. They set the framework of what they were able to use to make the prequel trilogy of how Anakin became Darth Vader, how Obi-Wan Kenobi became Ben Kenobi.
Yeah.
They used all that. But when they got to the sequel trilogy and they were like, all right, okay, well, we're going to make a sequel continuing on from the end of Return of the Jedi, they didn't really have any framework. They had, okay, the Empire's fallen. Now we're going to go to a barren waste planet with completely new characters. We're going to throw Harrison Ford and, well, I can't remember the guy who played Chewbacca's name, but we're going to throw Han Solo and
Yeah.
Chewbacca in there just for story plot. I think the only character they had any real framework for was Kylo Ren. And,
I
Ray
think
and
they had
Finn, they were,
I think they had the they had an outline of three main characters, younger characters that weren't in the other movies.
yeah,
Um and that, but I get what you mean. It's okay. They could have said to themselves, okay, we're going to make a trilogy, but let's announce just the first one. But let's have a plan of how this trilogy
that's
is going
it.
to go. They basically did the non-Marvel thing. Marvel
Yeah,
meticulously plan out everything they do, and they're in the same
yeah,
company. Yet they thought we're going to have a sequel trilogy, but we're not going to plan it in advance.
yeah.
And so, yeah, I understand what Johnson was trying to say with the Last Jedi is that
Mhm.
not that
Everyone could be
Jedi's
force
just aren't
sensitive.
Skywalkers and all that sort of
Yeah,
stuff, and anybody can be a Jedi, which is it's essentially true. Anybody who's got that, can have that ability. It's not just about lineage or you know, or what come before you on a direct level, you know.
hmm
And but I just don't agree with how he did it.
yeah.
And
That's so clear.
if they, I can, I know that JJ was offered the three movies, and I reckon in hindsight he's probably kicking himself that he didn't.
Well, I think there was a reason. I think there was a reason he didn't direct The
I
Last
think
Jedi.
it's because he's done Star Trek. He was doing Star
Um,
Wars and was worried about it being too much, three movies. And
yeah.
you know what fan bases are like for those two movies. They're very passionate and whatnot, but it's a long time to be locked into one job in that type of industry, I think. Um, but yeah, the what I've seen people about this new movie complain, oh, we're doing this again. It's another Skywalker saga movie, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't care what race said her last name was at the end
No.
of Rise of Skywalker. To me, she's not a Skywalker. She's a
No, she's a
Palpatine,
Palpatine. She always
which is
will be.
essentially is kind of like a Skywalker anyway, but we're not going to get into that. But I don't
Well, yeah.
see this as a continuation of the Skywalker saga. This is taking probably the most established character from the
Oh,
end of
yeah.
that saga and the final trilogy and using them to go in this direction
I think the
is
reason
something
she did
new.
that was more for a storyline reason more than anything, though. 'Cause, like, I think the reason she decided to tell people her surname was Skywalker is because when you think of a Skywalker, especially in that world, you would instantly think of Luke. the person who defeated the Empire, Luke
Yeah.
Skywalker. If you were to
Hmm.
say, if she was to say, "Ah, my name's Ray Palpatine," the first thing that people think is, "Oh crap, Emperor Palpatine, run."
Yeah.
So I get it. She's doing it to inspire hope into people that there is, there is a new Jedi on the block and it is a Skywalker and, the galaxy can be brought to peace again. It's all for like a feeling of safety. I get it.
Yeah, it's
But
a comfort. It's a
but I feel it would have
yeah,
been a much better story if she'd found out she was a Palpatine earlier and then she went about, overcoming her family's own darkness and, her family's ties to the darkness otherwise, sort of thing,
yeah,
and end up overcoming it and being proud to say, "Yeah, I'm a Palpatine." Because hopefully something like that's going to be brought up and answered in the new movie, but we'll have to wait and see.
yeah. Well, yeah. At the end of the day, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens there.
Yeah, there's a lot of Star Wars coming. So much of it that, in all honesty, I can't keep on watching it all. There's so many different things that
Yeah, I know exactly
I
what
feel
you
like
mean.
I think I'm already behind before I've even started, sort of thing. So I'm looking forward to seeing the movies. I'm looking forward to seeing the TV series because there's another TV series I haven't seen much about, but does excite me. There's a series coming called The Acolyte,
Yes,
as
yes.
well.
I've
And
heard a lot about it.
as we all know, an apprentice Sith is known as an acolyte.
Yeah.
So
So
hoping to see something good from that too.
yeah, definitely. They're very they've kept their cards close to the vest, you could
Yeah,
say. So I'm really excited when we see a trailer for that or just any more information pop up.
yeah,
But yeah, well, there you have it. We've got three new Star Wars movies coming out, all at very different times in the actual timeline of Star Wars.
yeah.
They're going to be, I reckon, they're going to have three very different feels, and that's not just because of the directors who will be helming them,
Hmm.
and also where they're set in the timeline.
Yeah.
It's a very, I'm getting this very kind of an exciting time to be a Star Wars fan at the moment.
Yeah, as I
There's
say,
these.
there's so much Star Wars coming out that there does seem like there may be too much Star Wars coming up.
Well, yeah, I totally get that. So,
Yeah,
um, but I'm a Star Wars fan through and through. There really is no
well,
such thing
exactly it.
as too much Star Wars for me. So we've got
Yeah,
the announcement of these three movies. We've got a new show. We've got Ahsoka coming up in
yeah,
August. We've got other shows that we know are coming. We're just waiting for when they, to see first images and whatnot of them. And then we've got Jedi Survivor coming out in like 18 days. So
yeah,
it's a
yeah. It's just under
very,
3 weeks until the Jedi Survivor now. I need to start my replay of Fallen Order
yeah,
just to
same
get
here
back to grips with
actually.
the story.
But yeah, so that's it from us heavies.
Yeah, it
Thank you,
is.
Josh, for coming
No
over and
worries.
having a yarn, you could say, about one of my
Yeah,
most favorite subjects in the whole entire world.
indeed.
It's going to be very interesting moving forward. I really would like to hear what you heavies out there have got to say about all of this. I've been speaking to some people online on Facebook and stuff like that, people that I know about it and what they think. I'd love to see what some of you other heavies out there think of it too. So don't be ashamed to,
Drop us a
leave a
line.
comment on the video or visit our socials, Facebook, Twitter, Insta, you name it. So all the social details I'll put down in the video at the end of the video as well. So yeah, I'm waiting with bated breath.
Yeah, I imagine we'll meet up next when we do our eventual review video for the Jedi Survivor.
Oh yeah, there's definitely going to be a video for
Oh
that.
yeah, we have to.
Definitely. Yeah. All right, everyone. Thank
All
you
right,
for joining. I'll see you next time. Check you later.
take it easy.